last couple of days. So I've been spending a lot of time answering these questions in my head and on paper, so.
So Don, what do you need from us now?
You know, I think
What do
that,
you know, as we look at the timeline here?
Sure. Well, if it makes sense, I think we should go ahead and get the information that Graham needs to start the pricing exercise.
Mhm.
We'll
Yes.
go ahead and do that. And then I think we can develop the design along the lines that have been suggested tonight. Some of the detailing on the exterior, taking a look at Andrew's program, you know, coming up with some graphic representation, illustration of how to accommodate some of the things that we're talking about here tonight, and plan to present those to the board next month at the meeting. And then, you know, I think from our point of view, this is all very manageable at this point, given that I think we're headed in a good direction on this. So.
The flyby that was developed, is that a sufficient base that can take on the new elements that you would be proposing and be something that would be usable for the public at some point?
You know, I think it's a little crude at this point. And so I think that we would want to develop that a little bit before we said that was sufficient to share with the public. And I think it's fine to show as.
Right, no, I'm
as
saying
something
with some additional detailing.
Yeah.
And I don't know if what program you're using allows for that kind of manipulation, or if it's a start from scratch process.
Right.
That's what I was asking.
No, I think we can do that. I'm not sure we'll have that ready for November.
Okay.
For the November board meeting.
Sure.
But we can make sure that that's ready as well.
But it may be something that we could have for January when the informational
Absolutely.
campaign really
Absolutely.
kicks off.
Yes,
Right.
yes,
Are
absolutely.
we talking about having more public meetings but going further into the community rather than having the same people come to the same
Okay,
venue?
so the informational campaign will the speakers will primarily be myself, Anita Quinlan, and Tracy Lane. They are our two community relations personnel, our community relations coordinator and community relations liaison. We are working on developing a calendar of the various meetings of groups and getting one of us in to see every single one of them basically between January 1 and February 28th, if we can manage it. As many in January, it's going to be our big January push. We may go and see some in December if that makes more sense with that particular organization's calendar and timeline. We will be having our first big meeting about this and how we're going to do it on November 5th during In-Service Day. And then our Vote Yes committee will also be doing their own kinds of things out in the community also. For the information campaign, I guess the question comes back to you, how many do we want to have other open community meetings, question and answer, where people can come and there maybe me and a trustee, somewhere to answer questions, be it here or at another venue. We're open to suggestions on however you would like to approach it. I don't know that necessarily holding those in-house would be the best thing, or if doing them, you know, prior to a program off-site, or, you know, being available for the 20 minutes before and after the village board meeting, or perhaps we're doing our appy hour in some of our local watering holes, where maybe have someone available during that time or just before it starts to answer questions for people.
Did we have a plan that we would be attending, somebody would be attending the PTA meetings?
Yes, that's Tracy,
That's part of
and
it.
that's me and Anita and Tracy. Those are the community organizations we will be visiting.
And then the homeowners association associations likewise, so you're going
As,
out there.
as much as we can. Some of them are really hard to get to, and. we're
Crash
gonna-
the meetings here.
Yes, and some of them meet here in the library, and we can definitely make it to those.
Well, that's
We
good.
hope.
Well, and I believe John has spoken about the idea that if there are people who are helping with the citizens group who have contacts with those other groups, that they would be reaching out
They
as
could be reaching
well.
out to them.
But that
Yes.
won't be something that's
Yeah.
coordinated
Right.
through us, that will be
No, right.
something that they're doing.
Usually the mayor's coffee is.
Oh, absolutely.
Good
Coffee
idea.
with the mayor is one of my favorite things. I'm sorry I missed it this month, but circumstances precluded my attendance. But I do plan to be at the next one, and will offer to answer any questions for anyone.
You know, that might be a good thing to have a meeting after, because they're usually pretty good about getting done.
Ooh, and I bet they would let us just hang out in that room.
Well, that room is open.
There's donuts.
And there's donuts.
Right, there's always
There's
donuts,
only-
yeah.
There's only half a donut, remember that.
So you can have two.
Yes. When you go to coffee with the superintendent, you get a whole donut.
So Graham, I think to really address your question, I don't know that we're looking at having more independent meetings specifically for this. At this point, we're looking to try and tap into existing venues to get that same kind of information out.
Okay, so coming back to that, Carl, then, do we need a model from Nagel sooner rather than later? Should we release them on that? Because it's not going to be a full-blown, correct me if I'm wrong, it's going to be kind of a balsa type, bulk type model showing the site rather than the building.
It can be almost anything you want.
Yeah, but we don't have time or the dollars to pay for it.
Well,
We
some
need
of
a set
that,
model.
What,
yeah, I don't think we're quite there yet.
Okay,
And there is more discussion later in this meeting.
okay.
Well, and it would be nice if we make some general decorative decisions at November's meeting to incorporate some of that in what's presented as part of the model then. Especially if, as we're finding out from our poll, that that's part of what people want to see, is what is this really gonna look like in the community? Then maybe we don't want it to look like a big chunk of balsa, because that may not sell as well.
Yeah, I think you get one shot to impress them. They're
Right.
sort of hungry for some level of finish, and they'll make their mind up pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we have to fulfill their appetite.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess I don't know what we do with it any sooner right now, that we need to have it done before we make some of these decisions and view some of what they bring in.
I think one of the things that Graham's getting at is that the preparation, the time it takes, once you decide to go ahead with a model like that, especially one with a fair amount of detail, it takes 4 or 5 weeks to get that produced.
Okay.
So
It's really more a function of time.
So start on the interior structure now, and then we'll put the outside on later. I'm sorry, I'm not being
Yeah,
helpful.
so I think we don't need to make that decision now. I think, before the next board meeting, I think it depends on when you think you're gonna need this. If this is gonna be something that's more use to you after the first of the year, then I think we have time to think about this a little bit, make sure we choose the right way to go about it and then get it done.
Well, if we were gonna have one more big public event, the thing I would wonder about is our December meeting, when we make our decision.
December's a rough month because of holidays.
It is,
Can't avoid it though.
but that's where we're locked into. So would it be worth having the model at that to be part of the presentation and discussion, and perhaps more people being
At the December
here?
meeting, is that what you're saying? I'm a
Yes,
little bit
yes, at the
confused.
December meeting. So we can hold that decision.
Let's just get
We
this-
still have some big decisions and some big issues that need to be hammered out before we can have this decision.
Right.
Okay.
So pictures of that facade are important.
All right, so on to the rest of our new business then.
And you wanna do those two real quick,
Done
and
the audit,
then
yeah.
we can get to the parking.
Resolution, all right, so everybody, page 222. The beginning of the limerick. No, I don't want to hear any.
Hey, I didn't name it, just there.
Yeah, somebody had to work really hard to make that an acronym,
Yeah.
sort of went together, but not really. All right, so Julie, what are we voting on here?
This is some changes to the bylaws of Limerick and its intergovernmental agreement. So we need to pass a new resolution because the intergovernmental agreement is the document that controls our participation in Limerick, which, as we have stated earlier in the meeting, is our unemployment compensation group account pool. And it's really just on the,
So it's agreeing with the group that we already said we would agree with to their new
yes,
statement.
and they made some changes in the way that they talk about stuff. They added in some things that deal with ACA, but we are not part of the purchase of health insurance program to which most of these changes pertain.
Oh, okay.
We don't participate in that, so. But we
This is
still have
just
to.
related to unemployment.
So it's complete, yes, so it's completely, this is just a procedural to incorporate those, should we ever decide in the future that we are going to participate in their purchase of health insurance program that we dropped out of several years ago because the premiums were too high, that we are prepared to do that, we're still members in good standing, blah, blah, blah.
All right. So are there any further questions on the agreement? You're all being studious, so I'm pausing. Otherwise, if you're ready, I would entertain a motion to accept the Limerick agreement.
I'll make a motion to accept resolution 2015-3, Limerick Intergovernmental Agreement, as written.
Do we have a second? Seconded, all right.
And all
Yeah.
around, because it's
This is not an expenditure.
but it's a resolution, so it
Oh, that's
needs
right,
to go individual. Pat?
Yes.
Vicky? Jason?
Yes.
Sharon? Crystal?
Yes.
And Carl.
Yes. All right, unanimously passed, thank you. And then item final. Half-day closing for staff and service on April 29th.
Yay. We want to be closed in the morning.
I move that we accept the recommendation to close the library for staff in service on the morning of April 29th.
Excellent. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
We'll be doing,
closed.
we're going to be doing fabulous anti-discrimination and anti-harassment training and possibly even dealing with bloodborne pathogens.
Yeah.
Are we
Doesn't that sound exciting?
That's an important one.
The Gallagher Bassett will be presenting that as part of the Lyra Pool's risk management contract for the year. So that's free through Lyra. Yay.
Excellent. All right, then at this point, we are done with the agenda business, other than I would entertain a motion to move to executive session with invited guests. Vicky, unfortunately, you are not invited.
Been uninvited.
Yeah, that's fortunate for me.
She gets to go watch more of the Cubs games.
Are you reconvening, do you think? Are you having action for?
Really?
Um,
No, there will probably be no
This is
voted
discussion.
action
No.
following
That's fine.
this.
I'll just capture your, well, don't you have to vote to go to your session?
Yes.
We did.
Oh,
Oh,
Okay.
I don't
No,
think
we had a
said all-
motion.
We had a motion and a second, we didn't all in favor.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear the second. All in favor of going to executive session?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.